Welcome in, everyone, to another edition of the Pacelli Coaches Show, presented by the Beck Center, live from the Beck Center. I'm with the head football coach of those Vikings. His name is Smitty Grider. Coach, thank you as always.
Good to be here.
All right, Coach, you're 2-2. You're coming off a bye week. Let's talk about it. Got a win over Stone Mountain that gets you to 500. What was the mindset after that win and then that bye week that gets you ready for a tough second half of the season?
Yeah, we really focused last week on just fundamentals. We went back to more like a spring training, fall camp kind of practice schedule. Didn't worry about schemes or anything like that. We worked on blocking, tackling, fitting gaps on defense, playing blocks, throwing and catching, just your basic football.
Yeah.
And we spent 3 days doing that, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and gave the guys Monday and Friday off. And it was a good week. We got better.
Coach, you had some, nagging injuries from some key players before the bye week. How are they coming along here as we head into this week?
Well, Cam Carino's still nursing a little bit of a turf toe and ankle deal. He's not 100% yet. It's probably going to be something that he'll deal with the whole season.
No doubt.
But outside of him, we've gotten everybody kind of over that. We did lose Skylar Sanchez in the game Friday night. He hurt his elbow. We're not sure how long he'll be out. It could possibly be a season ender. He'll have an MRI, I think, tomorrow,
right?
And we'll know for sure about that. But we had a good off week of getting some of those guys healthy. We held Cam out most of the week and let him kind of nurse that ankle and toe and get better. But everybody else is in pretty good shape.
No doubt about it, Coach. And I know you don't care about the rankings, but if the GIAA came out with theirs, you're in the top 4 right now. You would be hosting a first or getting a bye and then hosting the quarterfinal matchup. How important is it to finish strong, though? Because you've had a tough schedule early on. You've been battle-tested, but you still have the region in front of you. You got Westville, you got Calvary, you got Brookstone. You win those 3 games no matter what happened early on this season. So what's your message to the guys?
Well, we're not looking that far down the road.
Right,
right now we're looking at Whitfield Friday night. And, we've got to take it one game at a time and focus on us and not get caught up in worrying about later in the season.
Right.
That's important for us. Everything we talk about is taking care of what's in front of us, whether it be the next play, the next rep in practice, or in the weight room or whatever. Don't be outcome oriented, be more process oriented and worry about what we can do to get better, and all that'll take care of itself.
I like that answer, Coach. And if they focus week by week,
that's it.
Everything else will work on its own. It's when you start overlooking things, that's when stuff becomes a problem. You've done this for quite some time. I'm not trying to date you, Coach.
That's all right.
But when you get midway through the season, do you kind of feel like you know who your team is, or you still need a few more weeks, or is the identity part starting to come around like, this is who we got to be to win games?
Well, I think from day one we've set our identity that we want to be a physical team,
right,
and play with tempo and be able to throw the ball and run it effectively, equally. We've been challenged almost every week of the season. We've had some sort of issue, whether it be players out or finding out on Friday you're not going to have somebody. And so hopefully this week we might be able to go into the game Friday night and actually be who we've been all week. And
right,
that's one thing I'm looking forward to. We're still finding our confidence level. We're not playing with enough confidence right now. The coaches believe in this team.
No doubt.
I'm not positive the players believe enough yet. And that's what Friday night's going to be about is continuing to build that confidence that, hey, regardless of who we're playing, we're going to be us, and this is how we're going to play the game. And I'm looking forward to seeing that tomorrow night.
Yeah, I am too, man. Again, you're taking on Whitfield. That is at 7:30 in Smyrna, Georgia, Coach.
I believe that's correct.
Y'all going to be making a drive all the way there to play a GHSA school that's pretty good. You played them last year. Coach, so what do you know about Whitfield?
They're very similar to FPD and Stratford. They're extremely well coached. They've got some athletes on the team. Their tailback is a really good player. I don't know names. He's number 0. He's what makes them go.
Right.
He's a bigger version of the kid at Stratford, number 9 for them. So he's the guy we got to defend. But they do a great job. one thing about what I'm finding in this league with the best teams is they're going to do what they do. They're who they are.
Yep.
Their schemes aren't overly complicated, but they're very good at what they do. And they play with a lot of tempo. They're a very fast-paced offense, so we've got to be ready for that on the defensive side.
No doubt.
They're a 3-3 stack defense, very similar to what FPD does, and Stratford. So, we've got to account for their linebackers and their linemen moving on us. I expect it to be a great game.
Yeah.
Hopefully we've progressed to the point where we're ready for this kind of challenge. And like you said, they play in the GHSA. They play a tough schedule, a lot of good teams. So they're going to be a great challenge for us.
No doubt. They're 3-1 again on the season. They beat Mount Vernon, Social Circle, and Darlington. So that is coming up 7:30. That will be this Friday night. What we're going to do, Coach, is take a quick break, and we'll talk about how this week of preparation's been ahead of Whitfield Academy game coming up here. It's the Pacelli Coach Show with Coach Smitty Grider, live from the Beck Center.
For the big, for the small, the short, and the tall. Peacemakers, risk takers. For the optimists, pessimists, exhibitionists. For long-distance love. For the far-sighted, nearsighted. For introverts and extroverts, for the thinkers and the doers, for old friends. Coca-Cola, for everyone.
Looking for a powerful new Chevrolet or GMC truck and a great deal? Check them out side by side at Glenn Smith in Opelika. Take your choice of new Chevrolet and GMC 1500 trucks discounted up to $12,000 off. Chevy and GMC heavy duty trucks discounted up to $7,000 off. People from all over the USA save at Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika, Alabama. Get ready to smile.
Welcome back, everyone. Live from the Beck Center. It's the Pacelli Coaches Show, and I am with head coach Smitty Grider in his first season here with the Vikings. Coach, all right, we talked about how there's always a phone call.
Yeah.
We talked about last week being an off week. You practiced 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Gave the guys some, rest time. But this week, how has the preparation been? How's the guys' focus ahead of Whitfield Academy?
It's actually been a really good week. The coaches, we talked about it yesterday that we felt like this has been our best week of practice. The guys are really getting comfortable with the schemes on both sides of the ball. We've changed a little bit about how we practice, and I think that's helped us have better team periods. It's been a good week. I think, however we play Friday night won't be due to a poor week of preparation. I think that we're as prepared as we can be.
Nice.
And I think, we're as healthy as we could be at this point in the season. So I'm looking forward to a good night.
Is it that normal to change up practice routine and stuff like that? You just felt like you needed it at this point in the season?
Well, we didn't really change the routine. We just changed how we're doing our team period and how we're running our look squads and that kind of thing to give us a better look at what the other team does.
No doubt.
But with us right now as a staff, we've got a lot of our staff that's used to coaching at a bigger school, and so you practice a little bit different.
No doubt.
And so we're still adjusting to a lower roster number and how to prepare the team the best way to do that. I think we've kind of found our sweet spot.
Good.
Where we want to be with how we're practicing every day, and I think that's going to pay dividends down the road. And it's definitely helped us this week.
Right. And how do you maintain when you got guys playing both sides of the ball, man? How do you make sure that they get good practice time, but you're not overworking them, knowing the workload they're going to get? And I know you talked about you're trying to have a defensive-only team and an offensive-only team, but there are times you're going to have to call guys to play both ways.
Sure.
So how do you manage them during the week when you talk about the smaller roster size you have here?
Well, what we do, when we have an offensive team period or a defensive team period, they have available to them whoever they're going to use on that side of the ball.
Gotcha.
So what we've had to change is what we're doing for our look squad. So we're using we're using everybody else. So they're basically getting, they're running the other team's offense, then they're running our offense. And
Right.
they're running the other team's defense, and they're running our defense. So they're getting more reps in practice. you know, and that's something we try to take off of them, but it should help our conditioning.
No doubt.
And it's given us a much better look at what the other team's doing. And
it builds depth too.
It does. It does build depth. We've got some young guys that have stepped up in these situations. You know, we've got a freshman, that Carson Powell, that last Friday night he got thrown in there on kickoff because Skyler got injured, and man, went down there and got in on 3 tackles, and he's a kid that we weren't, you know, counting on very much right now, and he had his opportunity, and that's what we preach to kids. You know, when your opportunity comes, take advantage of it.
No doubt.
He did that, and he's much more involved, especially in our special teams now, and we've got more and more kids stepping up like that.
Coach, I look up and down your roster. You got a bunch of juniors and sophomores.
We do.
Not many seniors, man, which I know that makes you happy for the future, but you're all about winning now. But talk about some of the guys like John Thompson, J.D. Davis, who have been great on the outside. I know Cam Carino went down with an injury, but guys like Colvin, who stepped up big, DJ Colvin. You got some elite players across the board, man. I just wanted to let you shout out guys who've had a good year so far.
Well, I don't want to start naming a bunch of names because
you'll
I'll leave
off
somebody out.
I know it, Coach.
And we've got our senior class. I think we've got nine seniors, 9 or 10, but they're very critical to our team,
no doubt,
especially up front. We've got a lot of seniors on the offensive line. You know, Dustin Sherman is a senior quarterback for us, and Tanner Pickering at safety. Those guys are very critical. But you're right. I think we have elite caliber skill players that could have played for me anywhere I've been, and we just haven't done a great job, good enough job thus far in the season, taking advantage of those guys, and we've worked really hard on getting better at that. You named them. You know, John and JD are great. We got Mike Rowe out there too.
Yeah.
We've got some really good receivers, and I think you're going to start seeing us be able to take advantage of those guys more and more as the season goes. You know, we're transitioning from a pretty much run-oriented offense to a more balanced offense, and I'm not saying one's better than the other. This is just how we do it.
Right.
And so, you know, it's been an adjustment for those guys to throw and catch as much as we do now, and it's starting to really come together for us. And I'm hoping Friday night it's going to be on display full force.
I love the confidence, Coach, and I cannot wait. So let's talk about today and tomorrow. What's the team schedule like for today, and what's the team schedule for tomorrow? What time you plan on leaving and getting there?
All right, so we have what we call our run-through on Thursdays, which is, you know, really it's a special teams check and just play the game kind of deal where we work on and off the field in situations with our special teams and, you know, transitioning from offense to punt and defense to punt return and that kind of thing. And it'll go about 45 minutes, and try to get them off the field as quickly as we can. I know they like to do ice baths on Thursday after practice and that kind of thing. Tomorrow we'll leave school about 2 o'clock. We'll stop at Country's and have a pregame meal. And
love it.
Head on up the road. We like to get there between 4:30 and 4:45 and give the guys some time to walk the field, kind of get their bearings, and you know, not be rushed right into, you know, getting taped and dressed and pregame, and, you know, there's no downtime. You know, when you have a long trip like that, you need some time to kind of stretch your legs, get back oriented to that kind of thing, and so that's kind of what our schedule is. We have a period during pregame where the guys can go out and work on individual stuff on their own to try to you know, just get their mind in the right place. It's kind of a mental preparation period for us, and then you know, we go out and have our formal pregame and kick it off at 7:30.
Can't wait. Make sure you go out, show support, drive up. So, and the Vikings need you. It's going to be a hostile environment against Whitfield Academy, and the Vikings will then be on the road again next week, Coach. But I know you're worried about Whitfield this Friday night. Coach, you know this. Teams that how they respond in adverse moments define them how they for the rest of the season. And I like the optimism you have about your team. I'm excited to see how the rest of the season plays out. Thank you so much for joining us, man.
Thank you.
This is the Pacelli Coach Show live from the Beck Center. What we're going to do is take a break, and when we come back, Richard Holdridge sat down with the #1 team in the entire state. That is the volleyball program. Kirsten Trotter and the Vikings off to a great start, trying to go back-to-back here on the Pacelli Coach Show.
Are you looking for a powerful new Chevrolet or GMC truck and a great deal? Check them out side by side at Glenn Smith in Opelika. Take your choice of new Chevrolet and GMC 1500 trucks discounted up to $12,000 off. Chevy and GMC heavy duty trucks discounted up to $7,000 off. People from all over the USA save at Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika, Alabama. Get ready to smile.
And welcome to the Pacelli Coaches Show, presented by the Beck Center. I'm here with the volleyball head coach, Coach Kristen Trotter. How you doing, Coach?
Hi, good. How are you doing?
All right. Well, this is the first time that we've had you on the Pacelli Coaches Show, so just give the audience just a little bit of your coaching background, your volleyball coaching experience, and how long you've been the volleyball coach at Pacelli.
So I actually didn't start playing until about 9th grade, which is a little bit later than a lot of the kids nowadays. But, I fell in love with it and have continued through adulthood. I was first at Pacelli at 2019 to 2021. And that was a building process for the school and the volleyball program then. And then, military life, we left and now we're back. So I'm back at Pacelli now.
Absolutely. Team has been playing fantastic so far. The latest rankings came out. Number 1 in the GIAA. Had a tough loss. It was a good loss. It was on the road against your arch rival. But still, I think when the rankings come out, you'll still be number 1. That was, by the way, Coach, a fantastic volleyball match. It's probably one of the most compelling volleyball matches against Brookstone last night. And I think, in my opinion, you two are destined to meet in the state championship in Rome, Georgia in October.
Yeah, I believe that too. We're competing against each other quite a few times this season. And, as for last night, it was a very, very good match. I think they definitely had a home court advantage. And man, they showed up and they played, and sometimes it happens that way, but we're not going to go down without a fight. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And the schedule's tough right now. You're 24-3. You do have another tough opponent, which is going to be on Georgia Alabama Sports Live this Thursday, but you get to host Calvary Christian. Right now, they are ranked 6th in the GIAA. What does it mean to have a tough schedule to get you prepared when it comes to state playoffs time?
Well, I think that's exactly what it is, right? It's preparing us for the state championships. So I love the fact that we're playing, a lot of athletic teams, a lot of really tough teams, Atlanta teams, kind of outside of our realm of what we usually see here in Columbus. It's just going to make us that much more ready for the finals. And yeah, I really think it preps the girls for that.
Yeah, and there's no question, Coach, you've played a very tough schedule. GHSA schools, GIAA schools, some of the GHSA schools are 6A and 5A, and I think it's prepared you for the season that you guys are about to have. Talk about just being the defending GIAA champions, because there's a big target on your back. I know this is your first year, but kind of the culture has already been set. You still have great team members that were on the championship team last year, to include players like Shannon Menifee, Mayla Resnick, Anna Doe. Just talk about just what does that mean, just not only to be the defending GIAA champions, but clearly one of the favorites to go back-to-back, but also everybody in the GIAA wants to try to get a crack at you guys, and that's why there's a big target on your guys' back.
Yeah, and I love that, because Pacelli volleyball has come so far since 2019 when I first got here. We won nothing. That was a 0 record for wins, and to come back to Pacelli being the defending GIAA champions is such a big deal and a huge accomplishment that I'm just so proud of Pacelli and the volleyball program. These girls, they've worked so hard, and they definitely deserve everything they've got coming for them. And we are going to defend that title. And I would encourage, all these teams to come out and play their hardest, and because that's exactly what we're going to do. So I expect nothing less.
Absolutely. Let's talk about your team. Shannon Menifee is the senior who's had a fantastic year, averaging 3.6 kills per set. Pretty much when she is in that front court and she's slamming the ball, it's hard to defend. It's coming at you 60, 70 miles an hour. And sometimes teams can get lucky and they might try to go for the dig, but it ends up going out of bounds. And that's what's great about having a player like Shannon Menifee. What makes Shannon a very special volleyball player, and that she's able to understand what her role is on the team and being that leader on the court?
She plays a huge role on our team. Having her since middle school when she was in 6th grade, she's grown so much as a person and volleyball player. And just her stability on the court, her confidence level on the court, how she picks up and uplifts the rest of the team. It's a huge deal, and it's really kind of a cornerstone, for our team. Yeah, she's our team captain this year, and she really holds that title well.
Yeah, absolutely. Another great player. That's one of those frontline players that if it's not Shannon Menifee, it's Mela Resnick that's trying to slam it into the net. And, her sister was on the team last year, but now Mela Resnick comes in. Madison Resnick has already graduated along with Caroline Hilton. You had some great players last year that are now playing at the next level, but Mela Resnick has come in and she has just had an outstanding season. Talk about what makes Mela so special, and what are some skill traits that she's going to take with her that could lead to the next level?
Yeah, Malia's been a very progressive player. She is always looking to get better. She pushes the team to get better every single day at practice. In the games, she is always, the shake it off kid. Let's get this next ball. I know what I did wrong, coach. I got this. So as a junior, she has a lot of potential, now and next season to just continue getting better and better. And I expect that from her. And she really holds down the team as well as a leader.
All right. I want to talk about Anna Doe. I don't think there's anybody that sets up her teammates better than Anna Doe. Last year had an 800 assists, and she just continues being one of the best setup players in volleyball. Just talk about just Anna's leadership skills and coming into her senior year and being able to be that setup person that is really getting your team a lot of points because, off the bump, she's able to position herself where she's able to get that setup, and that front line, they can go ahead and slam it. And that's been just incredible this season.
Yeah, Anna really knows how to run her offense. And more importantly, the trust and the bond between, the setters and the hitters is a big deal in volleyball. And they really trust her to get her job done. As well as, she picks up every ball. The hustle is there, and she is running the plays. And she's basically the quarterback of our team. So definitely a big deal to be a setter in general. And for Anna, also a team captain, hence the quarterback situation. It's an awesome thing to see.
All right. Allie Vickery, she is your libero. She wears the different colored jersey. She actually leads the team with 3.4 digs per set. For people who don't know what a dig is like you're saving a point. The opposing team is slamming it into the net. They're trying to go for the kill. And the dig is like you're diving for the ball. You're keeping it in play, keeping it alive. And Allie has just done a phenomenal job with the digs per set to really help the play stay alive and able to even get points with that. So just talk about what her role is as the libero, because she does wear a different colored jersey. So what is her functions on the court as a libero?
Yeah, so like we were talking about Anna and her being the quarterback of the offense, basically that's the same thing for the libero. So she's the quarterback of our defense. She holds down that back row and commands the back row, and she does a really good job of doing that. She hustles, she's picking up those balls, she's talking to her teammates, following the ball to the line. She does a really, really great job of doing her job. And, her being a sophomore, she has a lot of room to grow. And so I expect big things from her in the future.
Yeah, I think that is amazing. You do have a new player this year, Samantha Sinambola, who's only a freshman. She has really come on, and I've been impressed with her play. As you know, calling a lot of games on Georgia Alabama Sports Live, we're familiar with the returning players and the players from last year's championship team. But Samantha, she's been very impressive in her first year.
Yeah, she has. I'm really excited to see her grow in this game. She does play a little bit of club ball, so that's helpful for year-round sports. But she is definitely someone to watch. I will say that. Really great player, great athlete, great character. So yeah, she'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, that's exciting. One thing I've noticed about Pacelli volleyball is that majority of the volleyball players are committed to volleyball. I mean, we've seen them, some play flag football, some have played other sports in the spring, but you're talking about the commitment to volleyball. A lot of them are just completely dedicated to volleyball. What does that mean for a small school like Pacelli, where you have multiple sport athletes? How important is that to be committed to volleyball year round, to have travel teams in the off season, to have tournaments? What does that mean just to help the skills and the development of the volleyball players?
It's a huge commitment, and it's a huge deal. It plays a pivotal role in how much these athletes develop. School season is just such a short period of time that I get with the kids. And when they play club ball, they get it year round. And so it's just a nonstop cycle of volleyball. And, having different coaches help the kids. Sometimes they respond better to other coaches than some. And, they get little tidbits from, here and there. And it really puts together a true, complete athlete. So it plays a really big role being a committed volleyball athlete.
All right, Coach. I know it's still a long season, and right now you're ranked number one. I know the goal is to get to the volleyball championships, which is going to be held up at Shorter University in Rome, Georgia on October the 11th. We were there last year in Noonan at the Heritage School to see Pacelli celebrate on the court to knock off their big-time rival, Brookstone. It was such a great volleyball match, and I know the Kings Academy is ranked number 2. I mean, you've got some talented volleyball teams, including Calvary. Calvary could surprise some people. They're sitting there at number 6. But what is it going to take to try to get this team to come back and possibly repeat as champions?
I think it comes down to consistency and their focus. We have a saying at practice, it's going to be focused fun. And, it's not a whole lot of laughing and giggling and messing around. We can have some of that. It doesn't have to be super serious, but we focus on the basics every single day. And with that consistency, I think that's going to push us all the way forward. And it's going to get us that state championship.
Yeah, and by the way, ranked 21st in the state. I think Pacelli can go toe-to-toe with just about any volleyball club in the state of Georgia. Coach, you've had a great season. Good luck against Calvary on Thursday. And before I let you go, because I got one more final thing I want to talk to you about, the tournaments that you guys have coming up. What goes into the tournaments? What do you look forward to when you have these tournaments? And what is the outcome when you're playing these multiple teams in one day?
Yeah, so a lot of the kids are club kids, so they play year-round, so they're used to these tournaments. But for the ones that aren't, it is a long day. We start at 7:30 in the morning, can go to 7:30 at night if we get all the way to the championship, which is the final goal. We've played in 2 tournaments already. We won first place at the first one and second place at the second one. We do have a third one at Glenwood coming up on the 27th. So we'll see how that turns out. But it's a very long day. So the girls have to sustain themselves throughout the day to stay focused on the goal.
Yes. And that tournament, by the way, is Border Wars. Glenwood, you're playing Columbus, Lee Scott, Northwest Methodist. It's going to be an exciting time. We're hopefully we'll be there for Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Good luck, Coach, and thank you for being on the Pacelli Coaches Show.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. That is the Pacelli volleyball coach, Coach Kristen Trotter. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching another episode of the Pacelli Coaches Show. We are presented by the Beck Center. Hope everybody has a great rest of your day.